What's up guys, Tuber Tutorials here, and I'm back with another photography tutorial type video. And again, these series of videos are for those who are new to photography. You just got your DSLR and you don't really know that much, and you want to get out of that auto mode and you want to shoot in those manual modes. In the last video I talk about shutter speed. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about the next most important thing you know about your DSLR and about photography, and that is called your aperture. And you the that this is the is kind of the most complicated. It's not complicated, but this is the one thing that gives people the more difficult to understand, because it's kind of backwards. And when the video goes on, you find out why I say it's backwards, and that kind of makes it confusing. But once you practice with it and you get used to it, it becomes natural. So what is aperture? Your aperture is simply the size or the opening of your lens. That's basically what it is. So whenever you take a picture, the size of your lens, the opening of your lens, that determines the aperture size that you set. Now, that happens when you hit your shutter release button on your camera. Your lens hole, it opens up and it allows the camera, it allows the sensor in the camera to capture a glimpse of the image that you want to capture, and then your aperture sets the amount of light that you're going to let into that hole to capture your picture. So, to put it more simpler, if you want more light in on your picture, you have a large aperture. You want less light, you have a small aperture, because the smaller the hole is, the less light. The bigger the hole is, the more light. Now, your aperture is measured in something called f-stops. And if you see these on your camera, which I will show you in a bit, f-stops is the measurement of your aperture. Now, I have this chart here that I found from Nikon, where they give you a chart of the various f-stops. Now, the main purpose of your aperture is to control your depth of field. As you can see right here, you have less light, gives you more depth of field. More light give you less depth of field. Now, as I was telling you earlier before, the smaller your aperture. Now, this is the part that gets tricky. The smaller your f-stop, which is the measurement of your aperture, the bigger your lens size is. So that's where the confusion is, because naturally you would think the smaller the number, the smaller the opening, but that's not the case. The smaller the number, the bigger the opening. So right here we have full stops, half stops, and 1/3 stops. Now, you don't really need to know half stops and 1/3 stop. This is just to show you the the stops on your camera. Now, certain cameras go up to, well, most cameras go up to f22. The newer expensive cameras can go up to 30, 35, but they are measured in full stops, half stops, and 1/3. So if you have an f-stop of f2.8, and this is determined on your lens. Your lens also determines how low and how high your f-stop goes. So an f-stop of 2.8 will naturally be a 50 millimeter or like a 10 millimeter lens. That will give you like a f2.8 or even a f1.8. That can gives you. But this chart starts off at f2.8. So the smaller the f-stop, the larger the circle of your lens, the more light comes in. Now, the more light that comes in, the less depth of field you have, meaning that the background of your image is going to be blurred out, and the subject that's in the front of your lens is going to be in focus. Now, as you boost up that f-stop, by full stops or by half stops or by a third stops, doesn't matter. But the more you increase that value, as you can see, the more the f-stop number goes up, the smaller that hole gets. And the smaller it gets, meaning that the less light you let in. The less light you let in, meaning that more things will be in focus, meaning that all that background stuff that was blurred out when your f-stop was low, when your f-stop increased, all that background stuff is going to be completely in focus. And you also have wide apertures, which is just your lens wide open, medium aperture, which is like f5.6 or f8, small aperture, which is f11 to f22. Now, as this chart tells you right here, the best f-stop that gives you the sharpest, more detailed image is the medium f-stops, like f5.6 or f8. So usually when you see most pictures and you see the detail of the image, it will tell you probably f4, f4.5, f5.6. I always shoot at probably f5 or 4. That's what I normally shoot at, because those gives you the best quality. But if you want to make a creative shot, you can, go to f2.8, or like I say, with the 50mm lens, prime lenses, those go from f1.8 to f1.4. That gives you a completely less depth of field, which is a completely blurred out background, which gives you a good detailed image that's in focus. So this chart will be in the link. I'll give you guys a link where I get this chart from, or if you want me to email the chart to you, just send me your email address and I'll send you this chart. But this is a good chart for beginners because it explains to you everything that you need to know about your f-stop. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how this looks on your camera. This video will be a little bit long, so please excuse that. I'm trying to make it as in-depth as possible so you can understand it. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to our camera here, and I'm going to show you what each f-stop looks like. Okay, so here we are with our camera, and we have our little subjects there. So we want our little minion here. We want this subject to be the one that's in focus, and all these extra things in the background, these markers, an old camera, all these random stuff is what's going to be out of focus. So like I said, your aperture, one main purpose of your aperture is to control your depth of field. So think of depth as field as this entire thing, this entire area is your field, right? This entire area is your field, and you want something in this whole field to be in depth. In this case, we want this little guy here to be in depth, and we want the whole field to be out of depth. So for that to happen, you need to have a small f-stop. Now I'm using the 18 to 55mm lens, so I'm going to be shooting at the lowest millimeter, which is 80mm, and that can gives me f3.5. That's the lowest that I can go. If you have a prime lens, a 50mm lens, or if your lens can go lower than 3.5, then that's good. So on your camera, your DSLR, you see f3.5. Now make sure your camera is set in AV mode. For Canon, it's called AV. I don't know what's called for Nikon, but that is your aperture priority mode. That allows you to control your aperture, and your camera will control the shutter speed for you. Now, so I'm going to start off at the lowest aperture, f3.5, and like I said, I want this guy to be in focus and the background to be out of focus. So I think I'm already queued up here, and my focus point set. All right, and as I take the shot, I'm going to show the pictures on screen. So let's take the first shot. This is f3.5. As you can see, the front guy is completely in focus, and the background is blurred out. Now it's not fully blurred out because, like I said, my my lens only go as far as 3.5. Now, if this was, let's say, 2.0, it will be more blurred out, but you still see the effect. All right, so we're going to increase that to about half stop. Let's go to F5. We'll go to full stop. We'll go to F5. Now, as you can see, one thing you should take notice: the more you increase your aperture, the slower your shutter speed gets. My shutter speed was, I think, 1/4 for 3.5. Now I'm at F5, and look, my shutter speed is between 3 of a second to 4 of a second. So the more you increase your f-stop, the slower your shutter speed gets. So take that into notice, because remember, the more you increase it, the less light you are letting in. So your shutter speed have to compensate for the less light that you're letting in. So, but that's a whole new video in one. This is just about your aperture. So okay, at f5, let's see how that looks. And as you can see, our guy is still fully in focus and the background is blurred out, but not completely blurred out as before. Now, after this video, I'm going to go back in Lightroom and show you guys the comparison up close so you can see them. So let's go up another full step. Let's go to f7.1 or 7 regardless. Take the shot. This is that f7.1. As you can see, now the background is getting more sharp and more in focus. So let me take that all the way up. Let's go to f10. My shutter speed is completely slow. It's 1/3 of a second. Cue it up and take the shot. As you can see, everything is now in focus. Practically everything now is sharp, clear, and crisp. And I can take that all the way up. My camera stops at f22. That's what most cameras stop at. And let's take that shot. It's going to be very slow. It's going to be 8 seconds. So let's... And if your shutter speed is that slow, you need a tripod, which is what I explained in my video about shutter speed. Now, as you can see, everything is now sharp and completely in focus. There's no blurred out spots. Everything is just completely sharp. So that is basically what your f-stop does. Now I'm going to take all these pictures in Lightroom and show you guys them side by side and let you guys see how they look in comparison. Okay, so now we are in Lightroom, and now you guys get to see a closer comparison of each f-stop. Now if you look at the right corner of your screen in Lightroom, it tells you the camera settings that you had. So we are at ISO 280 millimeters, an f-stop of 3.5, and a shutter speed of 1/6 of a second. Now you're also going to see how your shutter speed affects the lighting of your aperture, because remember, the larger the f-stop number, the less light comes in. So your shutter speed is going to decrease to allow more light to come in to make up for that small opening of your lens because of your high aperture number. So as we increase the apertures, you will see how brighter the images get because of your shutter speed is compensating for that loss of light. So, and this will only happen if you shoot in aperture priority mode, where you control the aperture and the camera will control the speed, the shutter speed. So as you can see in the image f3.5, you see the background is completely it's blurred out. It's not completely blurred because 3.5 is not really a low aperture, but it's decent enough, and our focus here, our subject, is completely in focus. If we take that up to f5, now our shutter speed completely drops to 0.3 seconds. As you can see, it's brighter than the first. You look at the get the first and this one. This is the first one and this is the new one. You see it is brighter. See, it's a lot brighter actually. And this is what we get. The background is still blurred out and subject is still in focus. We take that up to f7.1. See, our shutter speed is now down to 1/6 of a second, and now this is a lot brighter than the other one. See, this is our previous one. This is our new one. You can see a lot brighter and more stuff is in focus. We take that up now to f10. Our shutter speed is now 1/3 of a second. As you can see, the background is getting more in focus, more detail, not completely detailed, but it's not blurred. You're seeing more, and it is a lot brighter than the first. You can see, so you can see the white of this wall is a lot more brighter than this one. And the final one is f22, which is the highest. Now everything is in focus, everything is sharp, the background is sharp, the foreground is sharp, everything is clear and in focus. And if we compare that to the previous one, as you can see, it's a lot brighter, way lot brighter, and everything is way more clear. You can see the teddy bear right in the background is more sharper. This one is a little bit more blurred. The red marker is a little bit more blurred. You can see the black lines on this red marker and the black writing on this yellow marker. The black wheels on this car is not that dark because it's kind of blurred out. But on this one, you can see the black is actual black in these parts. That means everything is sharp and in focus. So that is basically what your aperture f-stop is. So to sum it up, it controls the amount of light that you let into your lens, and by doing so it controls the depth of field that you want. If you want a high depth of field, or if you want a low depth of field, or a shallow depth of field, that is controlled by your f-stop. Now like I said, this will take some time to get used to, because this is the most part that beginners get confused with, is with f-stop. So use that chart that I showed you, and take some test shots, get some objects and line them up in lines, and then take a picture of each, and take a picture of the front subject at each f-stop, and you see as you increase the f-stop, the other objects behind that front objects are going to get more and more and more in focus. And the more you do that, the more you practice with it, the more you're going to get used to it, and the more when you go out to take shots, you're going to know what f-stop to choose and what depth of field you want and what effect you want. So I hope this video help you guys out. I know it's kind of long, but I hope you guys got information you need. Any more questions you want, any more things you want to address, feel free to comment below. Be sure to like the video, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And I'll see y'all next time. Got more videos coming soon, so subscribe and stay tuned for more tutorials. Peace out.